It's because in the Falkland Islands, I had a discussion about the human rights abuses of President Mnangagwa. And one of the women that I spoke to at this, at a wonderful reception we had in the Falkland Islands, is relevant because of the number of Zimbabweans who've moved to the Falkland Islands. It's up to about 80 maybe now.
That's right.
And it's forming quite a cohort of civil society within the Falkland Islands, especially in schooling, in the services that they are providing, and the deep integration in the Falkland Islands with the Zimbabwean community that went there initially as part of some mine clearance work under a contract, and then it's developed and developed. And the discussion I had with her was really interesting for me. So 1,000 miles away from the UK, almost the opposite end of the world since I live in Scotland, then I asked her about the President of Zimbabwe and the human rights abuses, and she physically recoiled. It was the first time that she'd thought about the human rights abuses in Zimbabwe since I asked her, since she's moved to Falkland Islands. Because she's part of a new community that is open, that's tolerant, that's welcoming, that the rights are exercised. She doesn't need to worry about some of the aspects. And I wanted to thank the Falkland Islands for being such a home to very many people. And it's perhaps one of the elements of why we as Liberals need to have an affinity with the Falkland Islands for their self-determination. It's not just about our direct relationship, it's also about what they represent to very many people of an open, tolerant and welcoming society.
Thank you.
And the whole nature of the islands seems to have changed. Jeremy mentioned meeting people from Zimbabwe. I'll be corrected by everybody else in the table or Richard at the back when I say, is it now something like 70 or 80 different nationalities who are resident in the Falklands? And that felt so different. Just in 6 years, between 2016 and 2022, the internationalisation, the diversity, the openness.
The relationship with the UK is critical to us. We're really proud to be part of the British family. It's core to who we are. And actually the relationship is very much a modern one. It's a partnership now. Long gone are the days when we were a colony, and we absolutely recognise that. But that relationship is very, very different now. And we work very collaboratively with the UK government and get a great deal of support. Financially, we are independent. We take no grant and aid. The only areas that are covered by the UK are defence, which of course is significant and really very important to us as long as we have this hostile neighbour. The UK is technically responsible for our foreign affairs, but we work very closely with them on that. And there's no conversation about us without us, which is
24 in the United Nations. There is a tremendous irony that we go to this decolonisation committee, as it's called, and a lot of countries will support Argentina's claim. So Argentina will put out there what seems like an incredibly reasonable narrative, and it is that they just want to sit down with the UK and negotiate the sovereignty of the Falkland Islands. Argentina had written to its constitution some 15 or so years ago that there's only one outcome to those talks, and that is Argentine sovereignty of our land, our home. But also the narrative that they're going to sit down with the UK government and discuss the future of our home, our islands, whilst excluding us from those discussions, is at the very heart of why we travel the world and try to push this message out so that people understand that this self-governing, that this in order for any decisions to be made on the Falkland Islands, it has to include the people of the Falkland Islands, people at the heart of everything.
I think there's something else, and I think that money that is raised locally is spent locally and is accountable locally.
Yes.
through you, eight MLAs. And I mean, it's a kind of Lib Dem dream, isn't it? To be able, if you were a local authority for 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 people, to raise funds locally and to be able to spend it locally. And we just don't really have that ability right now because council tax, as you know, is kind of limited, and you rely on effectively national government funding local government. So you are perhaps a model for us in so many ways.